We all know that genetic factors are very important in psychiatric disorders. And recently, after many decades of research, finally it has been identified the set of genes that are predisposing to major psychosis. In particular, many studies identified the hundreds of genes that are involved in the risk for schizophrenia. This identification led to the possibility to use the so-called polygenic scores. Polygenic scores are the sum of the effect of the many gene variants that we all have in our genome that give the risk for developing schizophrenia. Um, this score is just the combination of many variants, and it is finally one number. So each of us can be categorized in terms of higher or lower overall genetic risk of developing schizophrenia. Of course, is not deterministic. It's just a marginal risk in terms of 10, 5, 10, 15% of the global risk of developing schizophrenia. But nevertheless, it is interesting from a scientific and also a clinical part. In this review, we focused on the effect of this score, of this genetic risk score for schizophrenia, in the outcome, treatment outcome of major psychosis, schizophrenia, depression, and bipolar disorder. Results are indeed quite interesting because it is clear from the many studies that have been performed in the last 2 decades that a higher score of genetic risk for schizophrenia is indeed associated with a poorer outcome for schizophrenia treatment with antipsychotics, for antidepressant treatment in major depression, and also for mood stabilizing treatment for bipolar disorder. Therefore, summarizing the evidence of this review, we can see that in the literature there is a convergent evidence that the polygenic score for schizophrenia has a negative effect on the treatment outcome in schizophrenia, bipolar, major depression, and also for the long-term outcome. This could be potentially useful for identifying those subjects at the beginning of the treatment and therefore modulate the treatment, a more energetic treatment, for example, or monitor more strictly those patients. Of course, we need further evidence, but this is something that can be useful also now.